Hello and welcome back to CST 2120. So in this lecture I'm going to explain how you can upload files using Fetch and process and store them using Express. So obviously many websites allow you to upload files, photo sharing, file sharing, this kind of stuff, your Instagram, Dropbox, pretty much everything really. So in this lecture I'm going to show you how you can upload the file to a server using Fetch, which is like a sort of function built into the browser. And then we'll process that file using the Express file upload module, and I'll show you how you can display the file you've uploaded on the front end. So let's start with Fetch. We need to get the file from the browser, JavaScript running in the browser, to the server, and we're using Fetch because we want to do that without reloading the page. Earlier methods could have done that with a standard kind of HTML form. Here we're going to do it using Fetch because this single page application approach we're pursuing in Coursera 2. So it's pretty easy really. We create an input field that has the type file, and that lets us choose a file. Now to do the sort of AJAX bit of it using Fetch, we need to put the file inside a form data object. There's ways of avoiding that with Fetch, but it generally seems more complicated to process server side than just putting it inside a simple form data object. So we're just going to use that approach here. Then we post that form data to the server using Fetch. And then the server replies with a message telling about the front end, whether it worked or whether it didn't work, and we use that to provide feedback to the user. So the front end is pretty basic. We've got a sort of the input field and a button to trigger the upload. So the input fields, all we need is an input type file. We don't need a form around this at all. I recommend you don't have a form around it. It can make life easier. So just simple input file, input field type file. Make sure you give it a sensible ID, and you're going to need that ID in the JavaScript to actually support the uploading process. In this simple example, I've got a div that will display the feedback to the user, whether it uploaded, whether it didn't upload. And then I've got another div down here where the file that has been uploaded will be displayed, and I'll come to explain that in a little bit towards the third part of this lecture. Then we've got a button that triggers a function called upload file. And then that does the work of extracting the file and sending it to the server. So now I'm going to go through that. So here's my upload file function. It's async because I'm using Fetch, which is promise based. Now the first stage, just reset the feedback, so any kind of input field. You've done this a lot in your coursework so far. So we've just got a server response is the div that gives feedback to the user about the success or failure of the operation. Then we get the file we want to upload. So the input field input of type file has a files property, I guess, that consists of all the files that the user selected to upload. Yeah? So before we even try to upload it, we need to make sure that the user selected a file, and so that's why we're saying if this files array has at least one object inside it. Yeah? The file input corresponds to the ID of the input type file. So we just run a check to make sure the user's selected at least one file. Then we put it inside this form data object, which is just a standard JavaScript class we're creating there, and adding our upload file. So upload file here is the key, and the value of that is the file that's being uploaded. Yeah? So make sure you remember this key because you're going to use it when you're doing the Express code to process it on the server side. Then to send it to the server is really easy. We just use a fetch request to our endpoint that we've created on our Express server. So it's post, and then we just send the form data as the body of the message. Then we run some checks. So if the server, as we'll see when we come to the server code, replies with an error if something's wrong, if the file's missing or it's the wrong name, this kind of stuff. And we use that feedback about success or failure to give feedback to the user. Then the final bit on the front end is to put the image into the page, and I'll say a little bit more about that at the end of this lecture. So that's all the front end code we need to send a file from the browser to the server. So the next bit of code we need to write is the Express code that will handle the file that's been sent to it, store it in a folder, and then send back a message with the information about what's happened. So for this demonstration, I'm going to use the Express file upload module. It's built into Express, you just need to import it separately, but it makes file uploading really easy. There's other ones that you can use for this. A lot of students have used Malta in the past, but I find the Express file upload is pretty good, so I'm going to stick to that here. Yeah. So to build our endpoint, we start by creating the endpoint, in this case a post endpoint to the appropriate URL. URL must start with your student ID, don't forget that. Then, crucial point we need to do is we need to rename the file that's been uploaded to avoid name clashes. So in the approach I'm doing here, I'm taking all the uploaded files and putting them in a single folder. But the problem that creates is if one user calls the file, uploads cat JPEG, and another user uploads cat JPEG, one of those cat JPEGs is going to overwrite the other, and one of the users is going to be pretty unhappy that their cat picture is missing. Yeah. So what we need to do is, what we're doing here rather, is we're renaming the file the user sends us with a completely random name that's pretty much guaranteed to be unique, and in that way we can put all these uploaded files in the same folder. And that even applies if we've got folders for each user, because they might still try and upload two files with the same name on different occasions. So it's always good practice to rename the file with an appropriately randomly generated ID to avoid these kind of clashes. So we rename the file that's been uploaded, move it into a public folder, and we return the result of the operation and the new file name to the client, so that the client, the user who's looking at the browser code, knows what the file is called, so that they can display it in the browser or do something else with the information. So we could upload everything to some kind of random directory somewhere that wasn't public, but we're trying to make this nice and easy. So for this demonstration and for your coursework, this is also fine. We're going to take all the files uploaded and put them in a single location called uploads. So that way, obviously, users can, if they can guess the random IDs of other users' files, they can potentially download them as well. So obviously this isn't a secure solution, but we're not really teaching security in this module. So for the purposes of having a straightforward file upload, that's what we're going to do. We're just going to dump them all in this uploads folder here, and then we can access them publicly in the browser, access them easily in the browser, which I'll show you later. Yeah. So this is the server-side code, the Express code. So I'm not going to bother going through Express again, because you should know that from an earlier lecture. But here I've installed the Express file upload, which you need to install with npm, and then we import the file upload there and tell the app to use it, and then it's just enabled in Express. We also need to install with npm and use the UUID module. That's what I'm using here. So UUID does a pretty good job of generating an identifier that is globally unique and shouldn't clash with anyone else using it anywhere else in the world. So UUID is great for generating the random names that we need, because we're almost certainly not going to get a clash with another name or with UUID itself. Yeah. And because I want to put everything in a public uploads folder, I want to make publicly accessible the root of the domain. That way I can obviously see my index HTML, but I can also see all the images that I've uploaded as well, because they're in a subfolder inside public. Now I can write the code for my endpoint, so the app.post, my student ID /upload, you can call it what you like, there aren't really any constraints on that in the coursework. First thing I want to do is check that the correct file has been submitted. Yeah. So obviously I'm looking for something called upload file, because that's what I specified in my form, and that should exist. And if it doesn't exist, then there's been some kind of error somewhere. I need to reply to the client with that error. Yeah? Then, if I've checked that that exists, I then can extract that file from request.files. So request.files has all the files that have been submitted with this HTTP request, and it has to be called, I'm expecting it to be called upload file, which corresponds to the key I've given there in the form data. Yeah. So these two things have to match for it to work. Yeah. So check the file exists, then extract the file from request.files. Then that should be pointing to the file that I now want to process and use. Yeah. In any realistic code, I haven't shown this here for simplicity, but I should actually run some checks in case someone's uploaded some kind of nasty virus or an executable file or something like that. So I should perform some checks to make sure the file's okay. I'm not going to cover that here, but it should be done in a real website. Then I'm doing the process of renaming the file. Yeah. So remember, might have two cat.jpg files. So to avoid that problem, I generate a unique identifier using UUID, and that should give me a unique file name. And then I'm just taking the extension of the original file and appending it to that unique identifier. Yeah? So if it's called cat.jpg, it'll rename it some string of gobbledygook, and then I'll add the JPEG back in at the end. That's what that's doing there. Yeah? Then what happens is the file's kind of originally uploaded some temporary location. What I want to do is then move that file to the public location so that I can then access it from within the browser. When that's done, I then respond back with either an error message if that's appropriate, or I send back the unique file name to the client so then the client can use that in the front end. So pretty simple stuff, right? Final step is we've uploaded the file, we've moved it into the uploads folder with a unique name, we've returned that name to the client. Now we want to be able to display those files or use those files in the front end. So I'm focusing here on displaying them, but if there's like a Dropbox copy, then we might want to be able to download the files, and that'd be the same kind of idea, yeah? So it's a simple example. I put all the files in a public upload folder. You're welcome to do it that way. There are no marks for security in this coursework. It's just about getting it working, yeah? Security can be added later. So we're just putting it all in this uploads folder. So if I want to access it, it'd be localhost, actually :8080, I missed that bit, /uploads and then the file name, yeah? So if it'd be, example, HTTP localhost 8080 uploads, and then this is the name of one of those files. You can see here this sort of string of characters is UUID's randomly generated unique ID. Obviously we might want to restrict the access to files on a per user basis, but for the moment they're just all public here. So here are my uploaded files, just examples, right? You can see each of them actually has the same original name, but now they've got a completely different random name that shouldn't cause any clashes, yeah? And they're inside the public folder, inside an uploads subfolder. So if we want to access them in the browser, it's dead easy, right? Just type in localhost uploads and then the random string of characters, .jpeg, and obviously in my code I can then use that information to put it inside an image tag or something like that, yeah? So as explained, the files are renamed by Express to avoid name clashes, but the new file name is sent back in the server's response to the upload request, and then we can use, so we know the front end, we know the new file name, and we can use that to display it in the front end, yeah? So here's my Express code sending back, you know, the unique file name as file name, yeah? And then in my front end code, I can then create an image tag and put the source as upload / that file name that's been sent back from the server. Okay, so let's do a demo of this, yeah? So here's my server. So you can see here's my public uploads folder, and it's currently empty. My upload server is kind of running there. So let's just show it in action. So if we do choose a file, going this cat one, so selected that file, click on upload, that triggers the front end code that will do all the uploading. So it's sent it to the server and it's uploaded it successfully. That's the new file name here. So if I want to view, that's an old one, so let's put in the new one here. So firstly, check it's uploaded. We can just paste it in there and we can see that's the new file name loaded up there. If we go into here, we can see here's the upload. It's now inside the uploads folder with that unique name. And yeah, that's about it, right? So it's pretty straightforward, and you could obviously upload different things apart from JPEGs and all that kind of stuff. Now the final part of this is how you might actually combine this functionality with something like a blog post or a profile update or that kind of thing, yeah? So obviously when we're uploading a file, we need to link the details of that file to the user who uploaded the file and somehow store all of that in the database, yeah? So for example, if we're posting an image in a blog or recipe, you know, we need to figure out how to combine that image with the user data as well as the recipe or blog data. So the sensible way of doing this would be user logs in, the user uploads the image with fetch. So in this case, we're using two HTTP requests. So the first HTTP request, well, another one with a login, but setting that aside, once they're logged in, we're going to use two HTTP requests. So the first HTTP request is going to upload the image with fetch in just the way I described. And then we get the new file name coming back to the client, you know, that string of gobbledygook followed by JPEG, whatever, yeah? And then then we can have the rest of the form could contain fields for the blog text, the title of the image, you know, all that kind of stuff. And then in a second HTTP request, we could wrap up the new file name, the title of the image, the blog text, and send that to the server. Now the reason I mentioned logging in is we shouldn't be including the user details inside this blog post because that should be handled using session management, which is explained in another video. So the server will then use the session management to identify user, maybe the user's username or their email address or their, you know, MongoDB ID, whatever it is. We extract that from session management and then we can store the blog text, the username, the image title and the image file name all in a single document. Yeah. So three stages. We log in so that the session management will be able to, you know, track the user across multiple HTTP requests. We then upload the image, we get back a unique file name of that image, combine that with other data, and then a third HTTP request, we send in the blog combining with the unique file name, extract the user details from session management, from the session key, from the session object, and then store it all in the database. Yeah? So that's a very easy way of doing it, and you could either do it separately where the user uploads the image first and then they submit the entire form with the blog or the recipe or whatever, or you could just in code handle those things, or just in a couple of fetch requests behind the scenes, so it all happens seamlessly without the user clicking upload twice. Yeah, how you do it exactly is up to you, but that's the basic idea about how you can combine the uploaded image with other data and store it in the database. Okay, so just to wrap it up, this lecture has shown you how to send files such as images from client to server using fetch. The server renames the file to avoid clashes and saves it in a public uploads folder. The server then sends the file name back so it can be displayed on the front end, and this new file name can then be combined with other data such as a blog that's sent to a server in a second HTTP request and stored in a database. So I think it's pretty straightforward, and if you just follow the sort of recipe, so to speak, in this video, you shouldn't have any problems with it. Obviously we can also give you some help with that in the labs. And that's it.